If everybody needs a place to live, shouldn't we be learning real estate just as much as we have to go to math and science class? How many of you ever went to math class and had to seriously ask yourself, why are they teaching me this shit? I'm not talking about regular math, you know, just carry the one, carry two. I'm talking the weird mathematics, where you're saying, all right, now, what kind of profession am I looking to, what kind of profession am I going to get where I'm going to need to use this? With all the things that you could be teaching me at that moment, you chose to teach over my head. And you chose to fail me. Now I got low self-esteem and think I'm stupid. Because the real reason why you can't evaluate that arithmetic is because you don't know why you have to in the first place. That's the real reason. If you could just make a connection between why am I learning this now and what's it going to do for me later, you'd be motivated. And you would be able to evaluate the arithmetic because you have purpose. But when you're in class, trying to figure out throughout the course of the class, why are we learning this in the first place? That's a big distraction. You see, we had real estate class in school. We would say, man, I'm trying to get free. I need to get out my mama's house. I need to get out my mama's basement or what. You know, you have a certain motivation. You be in class every day. Like, this is the course I'm going to go to. I guarantee less people will cut a real estate class if they were given it in high school. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You see what I'm saying? You want to become a ball player, you don't miss gym. It's just guaranteed. That's how it works. If you can make a connection with why I need the information in the first place, I'll study and pay attention. Just make sure it makes sense. Make sure it has something to do with me thriving in society. So, no real estate classes. Health class. And I ain't talking about the sex education, the banana and the condom and all that weird stuff. I'm talking about a real health class. You don't even have to be that holistic. Where was that in the curriculum? We had math, science, language, reading, art, music, gym. We didn't have math. We didn't have health. No real estate, no health. No family class, no leadership class. Society's supposed to go to hell. It's supposed to go to hell. If everybody's relying on the school system to cultivate us into being the people that rule and run society, and you don't got a health class, and if you don't have a health class, you don't know how to take care of your mate. You don't know what to do when your child is sick if you don't have a health class. So people just get sick, and then you just start saying, I have to rely on who we was taught knows. And who was taught that knows didn't know for 12, 13 years straight. So you have no health class when you go to school. You have no leadership class when you go to school. You have no family class when you go to school. You have no real estate class when you go to school. Yet you're being prepared for life. Well, big part of life is being sick. A big part of life is living in some place or somewhere. Big part of life is having a place to sleep. Big part of life is when you get sick trying to repair yourself as soon as possible. Big part of life is making money. When I had an economics class for extra credits when I was trying to do my thing when I first entered school in my freshman year, the economics class had nothing to do with anything I could use immediately. Bunch of terms over our heads. I studied it, I had a good memory, committed to memory, got the credits for class, but I couldn't make a connect between why I was learning that information and what I could do to use it in real time. We heard the word entrepreneur a couple times, but that's all we did with that word. Just defined it and moved on. Any society that can create rocket ships and visit the moon can clearly understand that you need to have real estate, health classes, and family classes, and leadership classes. Redundant, just like you have science every year, just like you got math every year, you have some kind of English or reading every year, you have to have real estate or health every year. You have to have that. You can't even give me a little course in health. You have to give me health every year. Now my children are plagued. They stayed by their grandparents recently. I am the damn devil. I'm telling you, I'm the devil. I am Shungal in Sumeria. I'm Batuta in Egypt. I am Beelzebub of the Bible. You understand? I'm Shaitan or Shaitan of the Muslim creed. I am anything that alludes to that in their household. Because they have to get PhDs. And it's unfortunate because my children are homeschooled, but they got to go back to school. And it's unfortunate because they eat a little chicken here and there. And you know, we don't eat no meat. It's unfortunate. So I'm the damn demon. I can't even put it at devil. You got to upgrade me to demon. Because what kind of man would stop his children from going to public school? And the reason they got to go to school, which is the most funniest part, is so they can make money. And so then we say, point at the people that got the degrees in this family and show us the money they're making. Because as it stands, this 10th grade dropout make more money than everybody. That's talking about you need to go to school. So that's not a good point. Ooh. I support her, so she wants to be an astrophysicist. I said, cool. So it's not no business and administration and Photoshop type shit, where you wind up working in Kinko's after you get a big degree and you own a big $15,000 student loan. You're working in Kinko's. I mean, that's not right to people. That'll have you not trust yourself for the rest of your life. I'm telling you, it'll have you not trust your judgment. I just always say go to school and get certified for something that grants our people the necessary momentum. Come back and provide a service to us and teach the rest of us. Don't expect all of us to go in there and get beat in the head for 20 racks. To learn what? Let one of us go up in there and get the information, come back, teach everybody else off the record. And let's see what we could do with the information. But it'd be stupid for all of us to think we should all go to school. That's insane. That's a setup. We're funding them, and the education don't even cost that much. And they're so slick, from one semester to the next, they're going to make sure they switch the books up so they can keep charging you $100 for this book and $50 for that book. They won't even let you be able to share the book from one semester to the next. But you're looking at black people like they hustle. Those are the real hustlers. How you going to switch the book from month to month? But you're looking at us to see if we going to hustle you out of a stats correction. These niggas is you know the effort that you got to make to revise a book every 2 or 3 months? The effort that goes into revising the books, the trees that have to get cut, the ink that has to be used, just to stop people from sharing the information, at least inside of a year. So now we know who controls that system, because whoever controls that system is not exactly thinking about your progression in terms of education. They're a hustler. And when you go through those lists to see to it that people don't share the information from one generation to the next, or one semester to the next, you know whose hands you in. So as I said, I learned a whole lot, and that's why I said in 2014, I'm gonna do more of these type of workshops, more of these type of classes that help people engage closer to family. Focus more on children till people start getting it, and this becomes what we gotta start doing. Because when I started doing the economics, people wasn't hearing it. It was a few people in class when I started teaching economics. Because there was no space for it. Everybody's teaching astrology, everybody's teaching numerology, everybody was reading people's feet and reading people's palms and reading people's buttocks, and they was just doing all sorts of weird stuff. And that was getting the love. But after a while, people started getting the idea. Now those classes are on decline. Finance classes is coming up. Now everybody's throwing a little financial jewel here and there. Start a whole renaissance with that. But I said in 2014, we need to start focusing on the children. People say, I'm all about the youth. I've been to youth meetings, and I be the youngest person there, and I speak for 5 minutes, and all the older heads are speaking for 40, 50. And I'm like, what kind of shit is this? I went to the Million Youth March, and everybody had gray hairs and shit up there rapping and doing their thing. And the young brothers at Ron was like this, just waiting for their turn. They got to close the show when everybody was walking out. I say, see how you do the youth, man? It was a good event. It's just too much old heads talking. And when the youth did get a chance to speak, no, we don't deal with that message. This is what it is. It's that white man, brother. I'm like, yo, I thought this was for us. Yeah, you should have called it the Million Elder March. So then, niggas would expect you gray-haired people to go in. But if you gonna let it be for the youth, let us speak and stop knocking us how we feel about our situation in our generation. Get over it. White man washed you up. It's true. And I understand why you still scared of him. I understand every time I try to succeed, you have to remind me that this goddamn cracker gonna do something to me. I understand. He holds you down, he raped you, he tied you to horses, stripped you apart, he stole your grandmother's land. I understand all of that. It's the Bloods that gave me hell in my generation. Wasn't a white man, it was niggas with red bandanas. I'm about to eat your food. This was the situation I was dealing with. Weird shit. Somebody about to drink someone's milk, somebody about to eat someone's food. Sound like supermarket shit, but this was all heavy gang terminology. Someone was gonna get hurt. We're rapping about money all the time, we rap about sex all the time. This is what our minds are saturated with in the younger generation. You couldn't possibly turn our head to blame the white man. We're not even there. This is a whole different era. Whole different era. The prophets didn't have credit cards. We do today. It's a whole different era. In Elijah Muhammad's time, they wasn't so diabetic. But today we highly diabetic. It's a whole different era. There's different rules of engagement today. We just got to accept the fact that things have changed and respond to it. Stop trying to respond to 30 years ago fight. We got to respond to the fight today. And that's why we're so dislodged and displaced in society today. We haven't realized that the fight has changed. You got people still fighting the old fight. I'm like, they done switched up the fight a long time ago. You got to keep up. And white people ain't on our behinds like they used to be before. It's a different way that they're going in their approach towards our community. They ain't so direct. It really looks like black people are giving each other more help. And it's probably true. That's why it look like that. It's probably true. And you could decide who's the one really behind it. And this started back then in COINTELPRO or Willie Lynch's speech in 1712 in the Jamestown River. You can try to pinpoint who started this and when it started. But that's not going to fix the problem. We just got to find out how do we remedy a situation where our people feel the way they feel about each other today. Is teach them about who the enemy is. I hear you do that, but that's a small percentage of how we're going to get out the situation. But then we're going to start arguing over who's really the enemy. And then we're going to argue if it's the KKK or the Aryan Nation or skinheads. It becomes very complex when we put the blame on people. We just got to figure out who immediately can fix the problem. That's us. So where does the problem have to begin? We have to make the problem begin with us. Let's get out of it. People say you blaming the victim. I was like, that's all you could do to get out of the situation. The victim got to blame himself. The victim got to say, I landed myself here somehow because of the decisions that I made. Blame the damn victim. Blame the person that stays in an abusive relationship. Blame her. Because after a while, you know what you say to her? You're stupid. Do people say you blaming the victim? Or do we sympathize with the person being hit in their head and we say, you got legs, you can get out of there? Because we can keep trying to fight that black man, but if you keep going back to him, what we gonna do? So it's the same thing with black folk. You keep going back to that white man, what we gonna do? You see, at that point, they say, man, you blaming the victim. They say, kill the white man. Like, you ain't say kill the brother that's beating up on the woman. You just told the woman, just walk out. It seemed a lot more simpler. We could give them up. That's what this class is about. We could give up their services. That's how we kill their system. Just give it up. Give up their school. Just homeschool. Give up their system. No more birth certificates, none of that. Done. If I told you stop reporting the deaths, they make so much money off of the deaths. I said stop reporting the deaths, stop reporting the lives. Have your own recording, but not in their manner. People say, man, well, that's crazy. I get this from niggas who say kill the white man, kill the babies. When I tell them stop giving birth to babies in the hospital, the nigga telling me kill the white man be like, yo, hold on, we might get locked up for that. I'm like, hold on, you just told me kill the damn babies. I told you just don't give birth to your babies in the hospital. And you have me in question saying that someone's gonna get in trouble. Father, who would be my child's grandfather, means well when he intends to feed my baby girl mac and cheese. He means well. And he thinks he's saving her from me. You know what I'm saying? But I know what's in that mac and cheese. And first of all, I know as melaninated people, over 75% of us can't break down lactose. Caucasoids can't. Way more easier than us. It doesn't incur stress in the Caucasoid's body based on their genome. Okay? But with us, it incurs stress. And anything that incurs digestive stress incurs mental stress. There's a direct correlation between bad food consumption and bad thinking. All you have to do is go in the neighborhood and see bad food sold, and you'll see where bad thinking perpetuates itself. If you go to a Whole Foods, any of y'all ever went to a Whole Foods? Have you ever seen criminals and gangsters gangbanging around Whole Foods? Nobody shoots nobody around no damn Kenilworth. It don't happen. People just don't do shit like that. But you put us by a chicken spot, it is gonna go down. The yellow tape is gonna be out. It's gonna be an outline on the sidewalk. With the nigga drumstick, they're gonna outline the drumstick and everything on the sidewalk. That's how it go down around this food, because it's destructive. So it's a direct correlation between bad food consumption and bad thinking. Anywhere bad food is sold, people think bad. Then they perpetuate the wrong. That's the vibrancy, that's the frequency that the food puts you on. So meaning well and doing well is two different things. So I understand. So I learned not to hate people. What frustrates me the most is when you can make sense out of a thing and convey that message of truth, and people still suppress it, disregard it, and ignore it. That's what hurts me the most. when your disposition, and I know what it is a lot of times. Sometimes, if this picture how the system is designed, I've been taught to do it this way my whole life. I've invested 20 years of my life into the educational system. I've invested $7,000 into their educational system and still owe 10 more thousand. I finally got my degrees. I got my job. I'm trying to pay off my education. And here it is, this nigga gets to drop out and survive and be more flexible financially, more free financially than me. I understand why people wouldn't listen. Because you have to convince yourself you didn't waste your time all those years. You have to convince yourself you didn't waste your money. You have to convince yourself you ain't teach your children the wrong thing. You see what I'm saying? When you go to school, they don't be like those other people that dropped out. You know, you are the elite. You are the successful. They throw the G at you heavy. They throw something tremendous, tremendous G. They throw so much game at you that I would come off as just a slick hustler. They be like, he's not part of the system. So there's no reason why you should really be able to survive. So they'll look at me and be like, no, you're not better. No, you're not in a better situation. They can't understand, how could that even happen? This is a malfunction. So what I'm trying to explain to my baby girl's family is what you're talking about. That's where this conversation takes us. You can tell them to go get a PhD. Whatever that means. Like, when you tell children get a PhD, no image come in there. Like, I'll say this, brain cancer. What image comes into your head when I say brain cancer? You see? Who else? What image do you get when I say brain cancer? Yeah. Anybody?
Picture of a deteriorating brain.
Deteriorating brain. How does a deteriorating brain look?
Right, exactly.
See, these kind of subjective. It's hard to really get an objective focus on these things.
Right.
But I'll tell you, brain cancer, what they don't tell you, is a worm in the brain. It's an actual worm. Wow. Brain cancer, what they call brain cancer, is a worm that's created at the end result of too much mucus in the brain. The brain gets coated with too much mucus. Wow. And worm is created and it starts eating away at the brain. It's brain cancer. But they can't tell you brain cancer has a worm.
Right.
That participates in this ordeal. You know what's going to happen? Whatever the hell causes brain cancer, most of us will never do it again. Right. We will never create a situation to get brain cancer. If a nigga said brain cancer is a worm that looks like this that eats away at your brain, then you know what's going to happen? It will strike a certain conviction in you where you're like, I will pass. I will take diabetes. I will take heart cancer. You know what I'm saying? But nigga ain't going to take brain cancer. You know, whatever causes that shit, I'm leaving that alone. Because you got an image of a worm eating away at your brain. So, when you're talking about get a PhD, it's like the children are what, in awe? Like, can they see something that corresponds with those letters? PhD. Like, if I told you vitamin B12, it just sounds like an alphanumeric. But vitamin B12 is an organism that resides in the small intestine as a trace mineral that eats away at toxins from your melanin. It detoxifies your melanin cells. It's an organism. And because it's a trace mineral, it means it's hard to get it from any other type of food. It's produced on most circumstances, almost the only circumstance in most cases in terms of people, when you get sun exposure between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10:30. It's called cobalamin scientifically. It's an organism. When you get a vitamin in a pill form, they're cheating you. Because vitamins are alive. Vitamins are organisms. They don't tell you this. So they'll put it B12, and you'll think letters, and you have no affection or no affinity with your health and what's taking place. So health is totally different. You don't realize when you're talking about health, you're talking about the organisms that are alive to help you. When we're speaking about good health, we're not just talking about water. Water is alive. Live water has living things in it that help keep you alive. But if we just say pH is 7, 8, no image. If we start saying the names of organisms and how they look and what they do good for you, we'll start realizing that when we're talking about good health, we're talking about good organisms that are able to sustain its life in progressive atmospheres in order to sustain us. So you say, oh man, I'm vitamin B12 deficient. No, I'm cobalamin deficient. Meaning I'm lacking in the organism that was created to clean my melanin cells. If your melanin cells are not detox, you become intoxicated. You have two types of melanin. Narrow, skin melanin, and neuromelanin, brain and central nervous system melanin. If your melanin is not detoxed, your thinking becomes deranged. You become disillusioned, inconsistent in your emotions. You stay in a state of self-conflict. Want to do, don't want to do. You can't take a fall too bad. You try to do something, didn't work out, you're depressed, self-doubt, paranoid. I think people talk about me. I think someone's cheating on me. You become a burden to the people that you love because they're trying to love you. All of this because lack of sunlight. Because you're not getting the organism. See, when you say, yo, this is an organism that you need in your body to clean out toxins. They create a situation where if I was to tell this to a child me, oh, hold on. I don't want nothing alive in me trying to do any of that. But literally, you know, there's a bunch of things that's alive inside of your body. Some pro-life, some against life. So B12, if we understand it's an organism, we now establish an identity. It's now objective. See, you can't always have subjective clauses to help us evolve when it comes to our education. We have to have a placement for that very thing that we're being taught about, so you can see it, so you have a point of reference, so you can connect to it. If it's another life, life connects with life. Like you say, real recognize real. If it's real, we can connect with it because we're real. If it's not real and we are real, there's a conflict, so it's just information. We can't really do nothing with it. It becomes out formation. It becomes out of the formation once you can establish an affinity to it or with it. You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to talk about health, we're going to talk about the living things that encourage life and the living things that discourage life. Now we vibrate on the same level. We say brain cancer, we're going to think of the worm eating away at our brain because that affects us a certain way because we have an image of it. Like right now, if I was to get a piece of chalk and scratch it across this board, just think about it for a second. I'm sure it'll make something vibrate inside of you, make you uncomfortable, just thinking about it. Just think about me getting some chalk and screeching it across this board. How does it make you feel? You see, I see her face like, she's getting like this. Because you know exactly how that feels. You have an association to that feeling. So, if I said a worm, you got a concept of an earthworm. Most people don't like how worms look. Most people in general. Except for weird people. You got weird people build compost all the time and want to farm and everything, and that's cool. But most of us don't want to see no worms, nowhere, under no circumstances. It always freaked us out a little bit when we was children, especially on rainy days. So, you're thinking about a worm, and you're thinking about your brain, and you know the two of those are never supposed to encounter each other. So the whole concept of brain cancer, more human beings will work harder to not get it if they can establish that connection between the two. But if you just use scientific terms, it becomes too subjective, and you have no image that corresponds with the reality that strikes a conviction in you to evade it. So, when they tell my children, PhD, I'm like, that's an acronym. What's the conviction? And no one ever says, this is the job you get. No one ever says, this is the world you're going to live in. It's hard to do that because we know we'd be telling a blatant lie, or there's a lower probability of that. So they make the success the actual acronym. PhD becomes the success. You know, they'll even say, hey, your sister's in school. And it's like, and that's not success. That's someone trying to get there. And the part they don't get, which is what you're talking about, is when they're around people who have not taken that route, who have persevered in this lifetime. So now their disconnect is this. You're telling me go to school for the wrong reasons. Because if you're going to teach my children to go to school for money, then they know they can make money without going to school. They bear witness to this just because of their father.
80% of millionaires and people that are highly successful
Didn't even finish high school.
No.
You see what I'm saying? And I told them the statistic.
Most of your homeless people.
Let me tell you this. You know what I did with the family? I said, let's have a game. Where you want them to go to school? Queens. I said, cool. I showed them how over 80% of the people that go to Queens high schools fail. And I showed them 80% of the people that are millionaires in this world didn't even finish high school. So I'll show you two. In Queens, 80% of the people that go to high school fail. on the planet, 80% of the people that are millionaires never went to high school. So here it is, 80% of the high school kids don't pass. And 80% of the people in America that never went to high school that are millionaires exist. Man, just send them to school. Show them that you love them. And I'm like, you see, this is getting stupid. Because now, I mean, school taught me to use statistics. This is one of the things they teach you in there. I'm using statistics. You want them to go to high school? You have a better chance of teaching your child illiterate and making them succeed. If 80% of the people going to a high school cannot pass, then that means if I'm illiterate, I got a better chance to make them move forward in society.
Indeed.
That's the best you can do? Only 20% of people are passing? That's the best you can, that's too small. I'd rather take you out. I'd rather take it into my own hands. If only 20% can pass, and most of those are females now, out that 20%, like 15% of the females. And inside that 15%, a lot of people not even in our race. Those are just some of the people, the rejects from their culture that happen to live in the black community passing. There's a small percentage make up the black men, small percentage the black woman, and the rest is the other races inside that pool of 20%. So I'm saying I'm dealing with the statistics here. We can't put our children's life in their hands. Evidently, it's designed to fail. They are actually passing. When 80% of us are not passing, in their state of mind, this is working. You see what I'm saying? The white man's like, it's working. They'll never take our power. Look, 80%. We were down last year. Only 60%. Now we're up 80%. You see, their up is our down is their up. They're like, man, we got to get these numbers to 95. I'm telling you, they're probably somewhere. How the hell did 20% pass? I thought we created a full system. 20% still passes? We got to go harder. Somebody got fired. Somebody got fired. We got to change the statistic to not favor them. So, again, we talking about statistics. We talking about exemplification. That's what you're talking about, exemplifying. So people can bear witness to your lead and say, you know what, then I know that this works. This is what I want to do.
I really want to talk to people about it, but I feel a certain amount of cutoff before I take certain steps.
No, that's our race. Our race is, let me see if it works with you, then I do.
Right.
And then after it works with you, I'm not going to stay. Just tell me what to do.
Right.
That's our race.
Right.
And that's what I tell everybody in the community. Once you learn, don't tell nobody. Make them go through it the same way you went through because they won't be able to appreciate it. Right. See, my children,
That's right.
I don't give them allowance. I give them jobs. You know why? Because they'll appreciate what they've earned with their monies. If they just get it from me, there's a disconnect. But if they work for it, they remember their sweat, they remember when they lost sleep, they remember when they had to make a decision to play or don't play in order to earn. So then when they acquire or engage in the acquisition of property or whatever it is that they do, they can have that esteem and know what it takes to get from point A to point B, as opposed to someone just give it to you. So even when people come like, yo, you know, my mom's and everybody's just waiting for me, this, that, and third. Unless your mom's is 78 years old, 60, I understand. But when people are like 30, 40 years old and everything, they're just waiting for it to work out for you, and then they just think they're going to piggyback off of you after they work for you, I always say, don't do that. If you love them, help people learn how to help themselves.
Right.
Don't give them the pass like that. Don't let them think that they can sit here and watch you ride. Then you're going to just come back and get, no. Tell them study like you study. Invest like you invested. They need a little help, help them. Don't mistake me. But don't let nobody do you like that. Don't let nobody sit here and watch you go through the pitfalls, possibly lose your wife or lose your children because you like, this is real and I'm going to study towards it. Everybody's heckling you. Man, you know, when I started this situation as a polygynous man that didn't believe in buying furniture in my house because I said I don't want to live here, do you know what the black women put me through? They made me great. I'm talking about, I'm not, you see, people say the white man is the devil. That's what people say, right? Then some people get slick, say it's the white woman. I'm going to tell you who the real devil is. People going to be mad. It is the black woman's mother. She gets on your ass, man. The in-laws are the devil. Those are the devils. Because those are the ones that is never pleased with nothing that their children get involved with. The in-laws are the devil. Okay? Don't get that white man out your head. So I was under pressure. And if my wife called me Brother Polight, she must be hypnotized. You know, Brother Polight says that we don't need to buy no furniture because we don't intend to live here forever. What kind of cold shit is this? Yo, give my daughter back. This is what I'm getting. Because I believe if I live in a house, why am I buying a TV? and I live in the projects? Why am I buying a sofa love seat set? So the roaches can be even more comfortable? You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of shit is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I buying all this luxury furniture so the mice can be more comfortable when I'm watching TV? Like, we don't need that kind of situation. I know mice is coming out the stove. I know roaches is moving around. Do you know that when a roach dies, it's farting consecutively, what, every 5-10 seconds? It causes asthma. Most of the asthma in the hood comes from dead roaches. Because even when a roach is dead, for a whole damn day, if it stays there in 2 days and 3 days, it's still farting. Up until 10 days. For 10 days, if a roach is dead, it's still passing gas, man. Now you're like, what does that got to do with anything? It causes asthma in the hood. You got a building filled with dead roaches.
What day?
Just passing gas 10 days after his death. What kind of shit is this? And everybody got respiratory problems and wondering where's it coming from. It's coming from the Pampers, because a little powder that smells so good, people inhaling the Pampers smells so good. It attacks the respiratory system. Killing yourself. These Pampers smell so good. I did it before. I'm like, damn, it smells good. Trying to keep some of this shit off you. But it causes cancer. That's right. That's why we was making our own Pampers. And I know people like, nigga, you made your own Pampers? Yes. We were selling them in my bookstore back in the day. You know, back in the days, the elders had diapers. They made that joint. Now we too good to clean some shit off a cloth. I know it. We too good. But you know what's deep? You know what scares me? When I go into white communities and you see different types of products like organic Pampers. And I'm like, you know, organic used to always mean you eat it. So I'm like, what are they doing? Is white people eating Pampers? You know what I'm saying? And I found out that they were creating new technology to make sure the Pampers are not causing cancer. I'm reading the whole pack, the baby Pamper pack, and I'm like, yo, hold on. New technology? So Pampers don't cause cancer? So I'm like, yo, what's this? So then I did some research, looked up Procter & Gamble. And they make most of the canned food and the Pampers and everything. And they're a satanic organization. And they make most of the baby products that we use to buy for our children. And they worship the literal devil, the 5-point star concept, the holding hands, the black fingernails, the spikes. Yeah, that's them. They making most of this stuff for our children. So one thing took me to the next, and I'm like, a satanic company is making the Pampers? New technology, so your Pampers don't cause cancer. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm putting something on my baby's behind that causes cancer. Who would have thought? So the Pampers is causing cancer, and the roaches I'm stepping on is causing asthma.
Wow.
Because 10 days from the time it's dead, it's farting, passing gas. And that gas that's being passed inflammates the bronchioles. And when the bronchioles are inflamed, those little bags or air sacs under the lungs, it compromises one's ability to breathe, especially a child that just got brought into this world. So it's not good. It's really not a good look. And this is what we up against. So we have to be educators, lead their system along. Like, oh, you too natural, you want to make your own Pampers. I don't want my child to have cancer. With the right amount of money, if I'm not making it, then the right money, I'm up in there buying me the organic Pampers. I know Pampers cost a lot of money. I know it costs a lot of money. So that's why I said if you can't make it, if you can't buy it, then learn to make it and recycle. Just keep using the same one. But who got the time and the patience for that? I do, because my child. I just can't sacrifice my child. So this thing becomes very difficult. My daughter here, she wears vegan jackets. And they say, what's a vegan jacket? Are people eating jackets? Because she just can't wear leather. She don't want an animal that's dead and this, that, and third going on. And they say, man, you abusing your child. I get called for child abuse because my child wears vegan jackets. I'm a lunatic because I'd rather make my Pampers. Because I don't know, you know, when you're talking to ignorant people and say, oh, I don't use that brand of Pampers because it causes cancer. You know, people actually look at you, start laughing at you. You know how hard it is to be smart in this society? When you tell a nigga, oh yeah, this is a vegan jacket. Vegan? You eat your jacket? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, jackass, you know what I'm saying? Just ask me what I'm doing here so I can explain it to you. It's hard being smart in this society.
Yeah.
Yo, Polight. Yo, tell him that shit you told me. You got a vegan jacket. This how they treat me in the hood. This how they treat me. Niggas putting bread on my shit. I'm like, yo, stop this. It's ignorance is hard, man. People are so ignorant. They be laughing at you when you speaking the truth. And then they be looking at you like this. You got the face like, I'm not joking. And then they be looking at you like, yo, you really not joking? Like, y'all really eat like that? Yo, my pop says, I eat bird feet. He saw the kid, he's like, you eat bird feet, you gonna die. Like, how the hell you stay alive? This shit's bird feet. Yeah, I guaranteed if I put that shit outside on the floor, the birds would be all over that shit. Is that how you eat? Do you use spoons or do y'all just... I'm like, listen, Pop. Quinoa, you know, that's something that we use to make sure we can sustain our weight. It's one of the foods that keep you having weight when you making sure you're a vegetarian. You don't want to eat foods that are poisonous. The ammonia in chicken is ridiculous. Ammonia and uric acid is inside the chicken. It's horrible.
Right.
You don't pay for it now. You pay for it 20 years later.
Right.
So you eat it, at least eat it once a week. Don't eat it so much throughout the week. Chicken is addictive, man. I know, trust me. Don't eat that shit once a week. Slow down if you're gonna eat it. Just eat it less, man. Because it's a cumulative poison. Carrots. They say carrots is good for you. This is BS. They got bunnies on TV eating carrots and shit. When you ever saw a bunny eat a carrot?
Right.
Bunnies eating carrots. This is what they do to us. Bunnies laying eggs. When you seen that?
Right.
Bunnies laying eggs. Bunnies eating carrots. Had me gas. Bugs Bunny was my favorite dude. I used to always be eating carrots. Yeah, what's up, Doc in the house there? Michael, shut up. This is what used to go on all the time. Carrots. And then I find out that carrots take away your eyesight. This toy is going to enhance our eyesight. Carrots take away from your eyesight. And in fact, carrot leaves the world in a toxin that they had to name after the carrot called carrot toxin. They name it carrot toxin. It's after the carrot. It's an accumulative poison that destabilizes the central nervous system. You eat too much carrots during the course of time for like 15, 20 years, and they have you start shaking like this. Too much carrots. So, you know, we go to a vegetarian restaurant, and we're like, yeah, but no carrots. And they're looking at us like, who does that?
Right.
No carrots. No carrots, thank you. We don't want to eat broccoli. They're like, why you ain't eating broccoli? What's wrong with broccoli? It's acidic. Just taking it easy. Broccoli is my junk food. If I'm on my junk food grind, that's like a bag of Lay's chips for me. Broccoli. And you don't eat potato chips? I eat seaweed. That's my potato chips.
Right.
Seaweed tastes delicious. Like a nigga eats seaweed for potato chips. We gonna call child services. That's why I gotta have a child services class. Cause y'all start feeding your children seaweed for potato chips, they gonna call these niggas on you. I'm telling you. But they go in the crib and see seaweed, like, oh yeah, daddy said these is our potato chips. They're like, yeah, we gonna make a phone call for daddy. Trust me. I had to learn how to protect myself. I had to learn how to protect myself. Because once you start really getting in deep with the holistic way of living, once you start getting deep and say, yo, I want to make sure I don't compromise the integrity of my child's godship, my child's divinity, with these vaccines, listen, the child is in the mother's womb for 9 months in darkness. If we were to allow our children to be born in a hospital, the lights that they use is called halogen lights. Real light is able to be photosynthesized, broken down into information so the body can learn how to produce something on its own or produce certain ideas and instinctive thoughts. Okay? By virtue of the intelligence that is part of the light spectrum. Light is conscious. When a child is in the womb, even the darkness is a form of light. Darkness is the implication of light. Blackness is a high IQ and intelligence, supreme balancement. When a child has been suspended in darkness for 9 months, to be born under halogen light is a shock to the central nervous system of the body. You ever been asleep and turn on the TV when you get up, and the light from the TV just have you like, What's going on here? Because you know you have melatonin and serotonin. One produces when you're in darkness, and one produces when you're in light.
Right.
You ever been in a house and then when you open up the door to come outside, the impact from the sun have you like, dang, I got a headache. What do you think goes on with a child that's been suspended in darkness for 9 months? The child has been suspended in darkness for 9 months to be subject to halogen lights when it's first born. My baby girl here didn't even cry when she was born. People, she didn't cry her first 2 years of her life. Not lying to you. First 2 years of her life, she didn't cry. First 2 years. First 2 years. Was able to teach her 4 languages by the time she was 4 years old. She didn't even have blood when she came out. She had 1 dot of blood on her in the center of her forehead when she was born. 1 dot of blood. Quiet as can be. No tears, no crying. But that's because we had candlelight. And the mother squatted to get her out of here. Would you lay down and take a shit? Would you like, oh, gotta take a shit. Would you say, let me lay down and relax and get the shit out of here? Would you do that? But they're gonna have the woman go against gravity to give birth to a child? Seriously? She's gonna lay down? Your excrement is not that heavy. You have a child that's like 6-7 pounds heavy, and you're gonna fight against gravity to bring the child in. Oh, we're about to have a child. Lay on your back. They're trying to kill you. And when we say, if this is, y'all are all educated, and you're telling her, oh, you're about to give birth to a baby, lay down, and y'all the guys with the degrees,
Right.
and you knocking me, the 10th grade dropout, I know you're going against gravity. That don't even make sense. Give birth to the child in the water, give birth to the child squatting. Oh, but the baby might fall and hit his head. Then put pillows on the floor. Nigga, like, it's not that deep. Build it to the top, up to the womb if you must. It's not that deep. But you see, now we're going to have to hit her with all sorts of pain injections, and hopefully that it won't happen, it won't hurt the child and everything. And then you ask them a question in the hospital. Is the drugs going to affect the baby? They'll pause. Is the drugs going to affect the baby? Number 1 question. If you know anything, if you ever seen a birth in the hospital, all those babies be high as hell. They look like they blew some bud not too long ago. They look like they had that good cushion alcohol when they come out. That's how those babies look. Because the mother has been drugged up and it's still passing straight to the child. So every drug that they're giving the mother to help induce the labor, oh, the baby's taking too long to come out. Who the hell gives you the right to say the baby's taking too long to come out?
Right.
Like, listen to this.
Right.
How the hell someone can tell you the baby's taking... If the baby don't want to come out yet, it's for good reason. Leave him up in there. I don't care if it takes 15 damn months. Leave the nigga in there. Don't induce the labor. He don't want to come out. It's for a reason.
Right.
Oh, let's speed it up. We don't know what has to take place by law of nature in the universe. It's cosmic. You don't come in and induce the labor. You don't come in, oh, let's speed it up because we got to get somebody else on this bed. Oh, you know, just take some shots so the pain go away. Like, look, it's a woman's body. I don't tell a woman what to do with her body. I just tell her to seriously consider that these people don't care about you. Just consider that. They don't care about you. And anybody that care about you is going to be the evil one. As a man, you go in there, you try to talk that talk, they'll ignore you and then keep talking to her. So she got to be built strong. They'll override you and undermine you. And you'll want to hurt somebody because you'll know what's at stake. And what they do to your child, the first 5 minutes of that child's life could render huge responsibilities onto you in the form of implications for the rest of your life. First 5 minutes of that child's birth, first 5 minutes of that child's life, everything is on the line right there. And those are the most valuable moments you'll ever have with your child. Your child doesn't need to be on drugs at that moment. And the woman should not be unconscious from the drugs, waking up realizing she gave birth. Because this happens too. Women be waking up realizing the birth took place. How you can take that from somebody? They can't get that back. And then we talk about this stuff and people like, they still want to do the astrology. Oh, I hear you. But this is important. How you can care about the alignment of the stars and don't care about when the child come through? the vortex. This is important. This is prerequisite. You have to have this format laid down. You have to have this format laid down. You will see anybody that's in New Covenant that has started doing the home births or making the adjustments with the hospitals to make sure that they have the candlelight and they're doing their prayers and the chanting and keep the place in it. Anybody that has been making those adjustments will tell you that did it on their second, third, or fourth child. They will tell you they've seen a significant difference in the birth. They see a significant difference in the child's temperament. The Chinese food babies born in the hospitals, they are a tough breed to raise. If your baby was made under the Chinese food jurisdiction, they are a tough group of Negroes to raise. I'm still trying to figure them out. No amount of knowledge you got is going to really work with the Chinese food baby. You have to get right with the food and everything. She's laughing because she's guilty, huh? But we got to be careful because when Chinese food came into America, autism came into America. Fact, you can always look this stuff up. When Chinese food started being sold in America, autism started happening in America. Fact, you see the attack is constantly on our children. And anytime you want to protect them from the attack, you know what they do to you? They get this group of people to trick you into thinking you have to listen to them.
Right.
So that's why this is the momentum for the conversation that I'm having about these things. I got a few slides up here, but I want to start allowing people to understand that you have rights. And as parents, we got to really create an organization. You know what I'm saying? If people can create organizations saying kill people's babies, parents can create organizations to protect their children, man. We have to be more strict and stern about it. We can't let one parent go out there and be forced to vaccinate their child knowing it's immoral. We got to be here as a group of parents ready to fight for our children. It's not good to just have one parent out there like that. Each one after their own. When as a collective, you make enough noise, we can nullify a lot of these claims. As a collective. Alright, so these things are extremely important. So, here's a case law. This is a quote from the American court system. I really like it a lot. I like it a whole lot. I said I wanted to read this off before we move forward, because this is what they say in regards to your child being in the house. Because we allow too much people to give us the impression that they can just come in our house and take our children. The experience of man has demonstrated that the best development of a young life is within the sacred precincts of a home, the members of which are bound together by ties entwined through bone of their bone and flesh of their flesh. That it is in such homes and under such influences that the sweetest, purest, noblest, and most attractive qualities of human nature, so essential to good citizenship, are best nurtured and grow to wholesome fruition. That when a state is based and built upon such homes, it is strong in patriotism, courage, and all elements of the best civilization. Meaning, if you want society to sustain itself, it all starts from the house. They know this. The second that child is taken out of their home, hell is going to be birthed. They understand this. Thus, by natural law, by common law, and likewise the statutes of this state, the natural parents are entitled to the custody of their minor children, except when they are unsuitable persons to be entrusted with their care, control, and education, or when some exceptional circumstances appear which render such custody inamicable to the best interests of the child. While the right of a parent to the custody of its infant child is therefore, in a sense, contingent, the right can never be lost or taken away so long as the parent properly nurtures, maintains, and cares for the child. So you hear they say in a court system that the right of the parent can never be lost or taken away so long as the parent properly nurtures, maintains, and cares for the child. So when they do the complete opposite, you have to know the laws that are in place. You have to quote that which they have said to reinforce your convictions. A lot of times we just say, this is not right. They can't do this. And you are correct. But you have to demonstrate that through case law. You have to quote when they have confirmed or ruled in the favor of people just like you that this is not right. That's what you have to do. So as responsible parents, We come here today, or parents to be, we come here today. People that's about to have a child. People about to have a child, people that do have children. People that just care about children in general, understanding their significance. This is a special class today to make sure we protect our children. Because the second you start bossing up and making sure your children eat the right way, the second you decide, I'm going to take control of the education, I'm going to create the curriculum, you have people that start working against you. They'll work against you. Okay? There's a spirit inside of people. It's wicked and weak when you start doing the right thing. Not a right thing, the right thing. Once you start taking your life into your own hands, when it comes to the education and it comes to the health of your child, you'll see the evil come out of people and how they question you when you have answers that are accurate. You'll see it come out of people. You say, no, I'm not feeding my baby cow's milk. Why? Because milk is allowed to have 750,000 somatic cells, a euphemism for pus. It's allowed to have 24,000 live bacteria before the FDA takes it off the shelf. It's allowed to be pasteurized, a process in which they induce food with radiation to prolong its shelf life. This is my life because I care about my child. So when people question me, I have answers, automatic. Now look it up, tell me if I'm wrong. And if you know I'm not wrong, why are you still telling me to feed that to my child? Why are you telling me that got to be in my fridge? How could you tell me that you got the right as child services to come in my house and open up my fridge and condemn me because I won't have milk in there? I say I make my own milk. We get almonds. You get you a new sock, not a used sock, please. Get you a sock if you don't have a conventional strainer, because the socks are actually even better, to tell you the truth. But you get you a sock or a strainer, blend you some almonds, mix it with some water, put a little maple syrup grade B in it, or some stevia, but it tastes better with the grade B maple syrup. But it's even more healthy if you put the stevia in it, but stevia has an aftertaste. Okay?
They have cloth strainers.
Cloth strainers as well. So maple, you know, I'm from the hood. I'll use a sock in a heartbeat, but it won't be a used sock. You know what I'm saying? I'll use a sock in a heartbeat, and I'll strain that almond milk, because you want to strain it, because it'll rip your throat apart if you don't strain it. You know what I'm saying? I've been there before. Oh, everything's organic. I'm taking even the filaments that's left, and I almost killed myself. So strain the almond milk. Trust me, strain the almond milk. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I be trying to go super hard with everything I do until nature shut me down. So blend the almonds, add water to it, put some maple syrup grade B in it or stevia. And if you have sea moss that's blended down to like powder form, mixed with bladderwracks, Dr. Sabia has some good ones. But if you got powdered sea moss, throw a little bit of that in it. Or you can boil you some quinoa, okay, and take the water from it and mix it with your almond milk. Or if you boil it and blend it real good, you can make you some some quinoa milk. Okay, it's many different ways to do it, but this stuff, man, is like a superfood for the children. Okay? And that's if you're in a situation where the woman cannot breastfeed, don't want to breastfeed, or you feel like she might be too toxic in behavior and mentality in what she eats. It's almost dangerous to have her breastfeeding at that point, because she's feeding the child a compromised rendition of the greatest thing that the planet has to offer the child. So these are alternatives, or something to add on to the breast milk. That's just like that is the best out there, because it's designed in such a way to cater to the specific interests and needs of that child specifically. But very important stuff. Okay, so once you start going this route, they looking at you like, oh, you think you a scientist. Like once you're in your house and you're like, oh no, I make my own milk. They look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like you're crazy. They'll undermine you. And they say, how dare you not accept that red and white container of pus. That's how they do you. But the audacity and the gall for someone to come in your house, open your fridge, and suggest to you that you're not doing the right thing when you know you've done the research. Most people that eat the wrong way obviously have never done the research on the food that's inside the fridge. Where do you put dead bodies? In the casket. Dead bodies go in the casket. And it also goes in the fridge, thus rendering the fridge a casket. You treat your fridge like a casket, people gonna die in your house. That's how it works. Now you open up a fridge and you see dead bodies in there missing his head. We should be scared. but we just accept it as reality. No, those are dead bodies in your house. You're refrigerating dead bodies and you eating them. Dead bodies. We gotta look at it like that, because when you have that objective focus, it makes you uncomfortable. I used to eat shrimp all the time until I found out it had a face. I was one of those ignorant niggas. I thought it always came the way it looked. I never knew the shit had antennas like roaches and everything, be moving around. You know what I'm saying? When I found out shrimp had a face, I was like depressed. I was depressed. And I found out salmon looks like something, because they was always smooth and slender. I'm like, yo, salmon's the joint. Then a nigga showed me a real picture of salmon. I was like disheartened. I can't be eating stuff that have a face. It's uncomfortable. You see what I'm saying? Like, it made me uncomfortable. So it was a very hard day in my life. And when I seen what they have to do to a crab, I felt bad. I felt bad. I'm like, they boiled the nigga alive? Like, shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't be wanting to know what be going on with food. Mostly you would have been vegan if you had to go out there and kill them animals yourself. Trust me. These niggas be eating pork. Man, pigs cry like white women when they getting killed, man. Like, you wouldn't eat no pig. If you had to kill a pig, man, you'll feel bad for it. Unless you one of them black power people, you might take special love in killing pigs. You know what I'm saying? But any other sane person, you got to think about the butcher state of mind. The dude that's going out there hanging a cow from the ceiling and shit and cutting it open, like, he's crazy. He's nuts. Like, when you eat it, I understand you didn't see what happened.
Right.
But if you're the guy, like, beating the shit out of a cow and everything, I'm like, yo, like, you are nuts, man. You're like, you are satanic. I don't even want to know you. Like, who can do something like that? Who can hear them screaming like that? Do you know what they do with the KFC chicken and beating it across the walls? Have you ever seen the documentary? Watch it. Watch what they do to the chicken. Unnecessary. So they'll put a chicken in the drawer, leave the head out, and just keep opening the drawer like this. They're like, y'all niggas is crazy. Just beat it. It's like, yo, you don't gotta do something like that. And then all the toxins from the adrenaline, because adrenaline is poison. So when the food, when the animal gets excited, the adrenaline flows through the body, and the adrenaline is actually toxic. And then you eat the animal. That's what they call halal food. Halal, because, you know, they're decapitating the animal before it could even feel the pain, so they say. So that way it's more healthier to eat the animal if it didn't go through the stress and anxiety before it died. So then I get all sophisticated. So I start talking to the plants before I eat them and pull them out the ground. And say, why are you doing that? Because the plants are alive too. I mean, people say I don't eat, you know, living things. I'm like, yo, you eat. If you eating plants, you eating kale. Kale's alive too, you know. Like, this is live food. Like, how the hell you say you eat live food and be thinking you don't eat living things? So it's incumbent that you now, for me, I like to speak to my food or give a little love to my food a certain way, because it led its life to get to the point where I'm going to consume it. I have to give thanks and be grateful. But, you know, talking to people like my father, ignorant as hell, he'll hear me say some shit like this. Do you be talking to trees? Do you sexually grope the trees? And, you know what I'm saying? My father's an asshole when it comes to this type of stuff. So he'll ask me if I go around groping trees. Do I get off like when I'm caressing a branch? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, Pops. It's a freak of nature, man. That's how he probably made me, man. It's just freaky, man. So I just tell him I like to talk to the plants. Because if you got to cut the animal's head off real fast to make sure it doesn't feel the tension or the shock of being killed, so you want to kill it as fast as possible, then I'm thinking about my plant food. And I'm thinking when it's being ripped out the ground, is it not going through the same anxiety? And then I'm wondering who's providing me my food. Are the people that's getting the food, are they speaking to the kale plants, or are they like, you know, asking, can your spirit leave the body before I eat? Now, all this sounds crazy to people, because I know people's spirit is calcified, so they ain't really going to be able to walk with me on this. But if you're going to do that to chicken and try to kill it real fast so that the poison won't be created, I'm thinking the plants are alive too. They feel. They sense you coming. You feel me? So we should say something. You know, that's just a higher way of thinking. This is how the ancestors are. They don't just kill shit senselessly. They give thanks for everything they get. It's called provisions. We give thanks for our provisions. So I was saying, when we start vibrating on that frequency, the world changes. And then the food is more nourishing. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? When you start thinking like that, the food becomes more nourishing. Now the next time you eat, you're going to be feeling guilty and you're going to be feeling uncomfortable, because you're going to be saying, you know what? I know the people that put this together. Even though the person who may have cooked in your house have love in them, how was it taken out of the earth? Whether it's good food, bad food, animals, flesh, whatever it is. How did it get to you? Because that's what you're taking into your body. Grow some of this stuff yourself. Just deal with some liquids here and there. And to communicate more, pray over the food for everything that didn't transpire. Give thanks for the life that gave you that food. That's how it is. Because when you're living like that, it makes you more humble. Makes you more honorable. Makes you more respectful. Makes you more righteous. Makes you more patient when you start considering those ideas. This is why we was taught, don't give thanks for the plate of food, give thanks for every spoonful. But the person that's giving thanks that much throughout the day, they're way more gracious, way more righteous, and they can communicate with you on a higher frequency than the likes of other people who may not even say thank you for the plate, let alone every spoonful. So this is important. So we go to the next one. So these are principles they don't learn in school. These are principles the children don't learn in school. And when they hear you talk like this, oh, he's talking about giving thanks to the plants, communicating with the trees. He's making his own milk. Look, the nigga got a tooth, one of them old school socks over here, the lumberjack socks making almond milk. They look at you and they want to lock you away. They'll make fun of everything you do. But you're actually right. That's the society we live in. You're actually right for everything you're doing. But they'll make fun of you. And they'll alienate you and they'll demonize you before they listen and understand what you're saying. Because you're actually saying the right thing. So we'll go here as an example. I just took some case laws out that I feel you should know. Because this goes into your documentation. This identifies your rights. These are things that the American court system has said that attest to the reality that you have rights, superior rights, over your children that cannot be circumvented by the likes of any government or government agency or any agent acting on their behalf.
Does this still take into effect regardless of status or not?
Regardless of status or not. Status helps accentuate a lot of these clauses. But these are just general clauses that everybody should be able to use. You'll find it in the Sovereign Bible. It's a whole bunch of them I put in there. Almost every right that a parent has, based on what they said out their mouth to rule in the favor of people that were being aggressed or that were violated. People just taking children. People decide. They don't have the right to say if you have the right over your child or not. They just don't move like that. It really is not that easy. We make it easy because we believe in their power. And then we don't know how to argue. If you say, man, you just going to learn this white man's law, just go into revolution. But the revolution is not here right now. So until then, we're going to do it this way. We're going to have a conversation. We got to have a dialogue. We can't just believe in a revolution that happened one day while you let your child be taken from you. You got to have a systematic process. If we're in a revolution, this is how we're going to respond. Right now, this is the revolution. Reading and writing. This is the revolution. We can run from it all we want. This is the revolution. Read. Get your reading game up. Get those case laws and understand when and where to use them. Okay, so we have here the following case laws is for Child Protective Services and the Juvenile Justice System Survival Guide. It says this part of the scripture, because I wrote it in a scriptural form. We're going to go down here. When confronted presently or potentially with and how you can succeed based on things that have transpired. The United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit said it best. The government's interest in the welfare of children embraces not only protecting children from physical abuse, but also protecting children's interest in the privacy and dignity of their homes and in the lawfully exercised authority of their parents. And this is from Calabretta versus Floyd, 189 F3D 808. Ninth Circuit, 1999. It says permanent termination of parental rights has been described as the family law equivalent of the death penalty. This is according to the courts. We'll say it again. It says here, permanent termination of parental rights has been described as the family law equivalent of the death penalty in a criminal case. So America says if your parental rights have been taken completely away from you, it is reminiscent to that of the death penalty. See how serious it is? They say it's like the death penalty. So that accentuates or pronounces how strong a case you have as a parent. People can't just suspend your rights as a parent. It's synonymous with the death penalty according to their courts. Okay? Therefore, parents must be afforded every procedural and substantive protection the law allows. So people be feeling that lost, man, they just took my children, they took 4 or 5 of my kids. I don't know what to do with myself. This is what people call and say. They just did it. Ain't nothing I could do. And I say, man, like how you can believe something like that? They don't even believe that. So That you'll see in Smith, 1991, 77 Ohio Appeals 3D. I just give you the references so you can look it up so you know I didn't make these things up. Okay. These are the things that's in your favor. The decision in the case of Doe et al. Versus Heck et al. Number 01-3648, 2003 U.S. Appeals Lexus 7144 will affect the manner in which law enforcement and child protective services investigations of alleged child abuse or neglect are conducted. This is very important. We're going to skip down. According to the court, the investigative search and seizure in violation of the rights of the parent, child, and possibly the owner of the private property, the mere possibility or risk of harm does not constitute an emergency or exigent circumstances that would justify a forced, warrantless entry and warrantless seizure of a child. And this is in Hurlman versus Rice. Why is this important? We're going to read this keyword exigent, which means demands instantaneously. Why is this important? It says the mere possibility or risk of harm does not constitute an emergency or exigent circumstance that would justify a forced warrantless entry and warrantless seizure.
Right off the Barnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. BlackandNobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. And remember, other team is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. BlackandNobel, I buy my books at BlackandNobel. BlackandNobel, I buy my books at BlackandNobel. BlackandNobel, I buy my books at BlackandNobel.